NBA players who let themselves go. It almost sounds like an oxymoron in a league which is mostly populated with lean, athletic machines. However, with size at a premium in the league, a handful of big bodies can occasionally find themselves a roster spot. History effectively serves to illustrate the truth in this, as oversized men such as Jerome James, Robert Traylor, Mike Sweetney, and most of all, Oliver Miller, found themselves trudging up and down NBA courts in the recent past. Moreover, we may be seeing more of this occur in the future. If a lockout eventually does come to take place in 2011-12, many NBA players may rapidly fall out of shape, a la Shawn Kemp during the 1998 lockout. An out-of-shape NBA is a bad NBA, so for the fans' sake, let's hope that a lockout is avoided. But regardless of what happens, there are still some out-of-shape players currently playing in the NBA. Some are simply eating up roster space and are on their way out of the league, while others have been able to become solid contributors for their respective teams. But all players on this list share one common trait: they are out of shape. So without further ado, here are the 10 NBA players who let themselves go. No. 10. Zach Randolph. In 2009-10, Zach Randolph made his first NBA All-Star appearance. Although that proves that he can certainly get it done on the court, he has always been a bit on the chubby side. And that being said, his girth has often limited his athletic ability. As a result, he is a horrible defender, and he can barely get off the floor. Consequently, when he actually is able to dunk in a game, it tends to make headlines. Nevertheless though, his wide-bodied physique likely factors into his becoming so efficient on the boards, as he has averaged double-digit rebounds in 5 of his 9 NBA seasons. So with that nasty attribute to his game, coupled with his decently quick feet and smooth jumper, just image how good Zebo could be if he managed to shed a few pounds. No. 9. DeMarcus Cousins. Prior to the 2010 NBA draft, DeMarcus Cousins turned a lot of heads, albeit often for many of the wrong reason. First, his attitude and work ethic were drawn into question. Responding to this, Cousins worked out like never before, eventually declaring that he was in the best shape of his life. However, by the time the pre-draft combine rolled around, his statement also came to be questioned, as he weighed in at 292 pounds, significantly higher than his listed weight at Kentucky. Furthermore, he was measured to be at 16.4% body fat, the 12th highest measurement in NBA history. Nevertheless, Cousins was still drafted 5th overall by the Sacramento Kings, and his performance in the Summer League showed that he was likely worth the risk. So, as long as he can keep his conditioning issues under control, Cousins looks to translate his size and skill into a long and successful NBA career. No. 8. Baron Davis. It's rare that a guard ever makes headlines for being out of shape. However, during the summer of 2010, Baron Davis did just that. ESPN's Chris Broussard first reported that Davis had ballooned up to 260 pounds, an unimaginable weight for a 6'3" point guard. However, Davis quickly responded, shooting down those rumors. However, that wasn't the end of his off-season ordeal. Next, in September, Davis was guilty of irking new Los Angeles Clippers head coach Vinny Del Negro to the point where he complained to the media that his point was not in shape to run the offense. However, Davis has since returned to practice, and according to rookie Eric Bledsoe, he's looking good. So with this summer's weight questions behind it, will Davis be able to get in good enough shape to provide some veteran leadership to the Clippers, a team which could potentially surprise some people in 2010-11? No. 7. Shaquille O'Neal. In 2005, a body mass index survey conducted by the Associated Press named Shaquille O'Neal as not only obese, but the most obese player in the NBA. However, BMI obviously has numerous weaknesses, and this is especially apparent when it is used to measure athletes. So if BMI is ruled out, why is Shaq on this list? Shaq's new head coach, Doc Rivers, even declared that O'Neal was in very good shape coming into camp for the Boston Celtics. Very good shape for Shaq is not really saying much. Weight problems have followed him throughout his time in the NBA. And although they haven't prevented him from succeeding, he has often been larger than necessary. And with his increasing age, his plodding size will wear on his body and continue to result in the gradual decline of his skills. But expecting to play only about 20 minutes per game, Shaq will definitely still be able to positively contribute to the C's quest for a championship. No. 6. Rasheed Wallace. Technically, Rasheed Wallace is retired. However, there have been rumors that he might return mid-season in 2010-11 for one last championship run. But last season, he was a shadow of his former self. Knowing he was going to be playing a reduced role off of the bench, Wallace showed up fat, lazy, and indifferent. And if Sheed is planning on playing less than a full season, expect even less. If his return were definite, he would certainly be ranked higher on this list, since the 2010-11 version of Rasheed Wallace would be one of the saddest things to ever grace an NBA court. No. 5. Glenn Davis. If your nickname is Big Baby, then you're probably not a great physical specimen. Glenn Davis, listed at 6'9", 289 pounds, certainly fits that bill. It doesn't help his cause when opposing fans are able to terrorize him with well-thought-out insults like "fat boy." Furthermore, citing his high school success as a defensive lineman, in 2009, Davis stated his desire to someday play professional football. But regardless of all of this, Davis can ball, playing an essential role for the perennially contending Boston Celtics, as long as he keeps his weight under control. Big Baby should continue to lead the C's vaunted second unit during their 2010-11 title run. No. 4. Keith Gallen. There is nothing tiny about Keith Gallen. In the pre-draft combine, the 6'9" forward center weighed in at a whopping 302 pounds with 15.1% body fat. Furthermore, while in college at Oklahoma, he gained notoriety for shattering a backboard on a failed alley-oop attempt. Yet, his draft status was often in question, due primarily to his weight issues. However, the Milwaukee Bucks saw some promise, selecting Gallen with the 47th overall pick in the 2010 NBA draft. Yet on Wednesday, the Bucks finally cut him, with GM John Hammond explaining that the decision was made in order to allow Gallen to sign into a better situation with another team. So as long as he can keep his weight down and not eat his way out of the league, Keith "Tiny" Gallen should get a chance to sign on with another squad and continue pursuing his NBA dream. No. 3. Dexter Pittman. So far, this list has seen its fair share of huge rookies in DeMarcus Cousins and Keith "Tiny" Gallen. However, both of those individuals pale in comparison to this first-year giant, Dexter Pittman. After losing 100 pounds to prepare for the NBA, the Sixton Pittman weighed in at 303 pounds at the pre-draft combine. But he shocked onlookers by registering a 20.4% body fat measurement. Still, the Miami Heat selected Pittman with the 32nd overall pick, ultimately signing him to a 3-year contract. However, with all of the talent now surrounding him in South Beach, coupled with the comfort and security of his multi-year deal, it would be easy for the rookie center to slip up and physically regress. And if that were to happen, Pittman's first contract could also be his last. No. 2. Sean May. Sean May went from being a national superstar in college at North Carolina to a promising young player on the Charlotte Bobcats to an individual whose injury and weight concerns nearly forced him out of the league. In 2008, the 6th of May underwent microfracture surgery, and during his time off from basketball, he grew upwards of 300 pounds. Since then, he has been the subject of numerous fat jokes, and even had weight stipulations added into his most recent contract with the Sacramento Kings. Most recently, May was signed by the New Jersey Nets, but following a stress fracture in his foot, he was waived. Now, injured and off his feet, the question looms as to whether he will be able to keep from inflating up to 300 pounds again. If not, and with no current team, Sean May's brief NBA career may have come to an end. No. 1. Eddie Curry. The most out-of-shape player in the NBA is undoubtedly Eddie Curry. This offseason alone, he refused to attend New York Knicks team workouts, showed up to camp 25 pounds overweight, and was immediately injured, tweaking his hamstring. He is now expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. This marks the third consecutive year where Curry has been unable to complete training camp due to injuries. During those 2 other regular seasons combined, Curry has only played in 10 games. Furthermore, Curry's past witnessed some even more ridiculous occurrences, such as the time he returned to the team from an illness, sat on an exercise ball, and it exploded, a sequence of events which was typical of his career narrative in New York. So, since it seems that he is always either hurt or deemed to be too out of shape to play by his coach, Mike D'Antoni, it would be surprising to see Curry's career continue past this season, the last on his current contract.